Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining in. Um, First of all, welcome to this masterclass. And it's to be on a personal note, it's really weird to not see so many people and to be in front of so many people knowingly. But I'd rather be, if it's even if it sounds awkward, to be on stage and seeing reactions of all of you guys and see if my jokes land or if I bore everybody to death, but I'll give my best. Anyways, I'm Chris Kling, founder and CEO of Narrowfix, and today I want to take you on a journey into how production workflows in audiobooks are changing and why this chapter is really exciting for all of us who care deeply about storytelling. So, one second, I'm going to share my screen right now. And I want to start on a rather personal note and saying that it is a great time to be a part of the story. Last year, as I spoke here in the same format about market statistics, our audiobook casting tool, and new formats and also challenges, I did state the same. And I still think it is a great time to be part of the evolving audiobook industry. And the audio industry was once a niche, but now it is really in front and in center of people's daily lives, whether it's audiobooks, podcasts, or streaming music. Some of you might know me as the CEO of my other company, Frankfurter Audiobooks, and this is what actually got me here. I started Klangkantine as a recording studio back in 2009, and over the years, I'm happy that it grew into one of Germany's leading audiobook production companies. When I started back then, 2009, that was not such a straightforward thing, and I always had the impression I was late to the party and I missed the best bits because I heard countless stories from industry veterans about the good old days when time and money flowed freely, and there are even people that swore that audio engineering is death. Back then, I was in my early 20s, and it was my luck that I was passionate enough, or maybe even just very stubborn, which I still am, and seemed not to care about a lot of things and still kept on this path. On this path, around 2018, I did realize that we needed smarter tools. It was that pivotal moment in the industry, at least I thought it was, and a very dynamic market, and new technology was at our hand. And I thought that can be used in our favor in terms of software to tackle these challenges. But we did not find what we were looking for, so we started building our own. Since then, we developed tools to streamline project management and production workflows for audiobooks. End of last year, we were researching on software for new production workflows and found a way to develop something that was potentially bigger than we have imagined, but we saw a clear path and how to achieve it, so we did. So beginning of this year, we made the decisions to let others also profit from our tools and to take the development even further. And that is exactly how Narrowfix was born. So Narrowfix is a software as a service that lets others benefit from the same tools we developed for our daily work. However, this rise in technology that I was talking about just now came also with new challenges, and I want to explore how these forces are impacting us and how we can leverage new tools and strategies. So let's start. Last year in this place, I gave a market overview and focused on new formats, business models, and other tools. Today, we'll explore how these forces are impacting us, especially in production. One thing that is safe to say is that the industry is getting increasingly competitive. And as you know, the book industry is under pressure and it's getting a crowded place, especially in audio, through the often recycled and true narrative of the audio boom. And that has indeed led to an increasing numbers of actors on the audio market, and both on the publishing and on the production side. So let's take a look at these challenges exactly. First, for publishers. For publishers, speaking to our clients in the recent months, it got clear that the audio monetization revenue is shrinking per product in some cases. That is because streaming payment models are definitely on the rise. And when we get back from DTO or other business models, it gets clear that the revenue per product sometimes is not the same in these new business models. Furthermore, we have the really heavily discussed TTS, text-to-speech, AI voice is how you would call it. And even though I'm very tech optimistic, as you will see, I do think that it will take away a significant market volume in some places. Especially, I see some of them of voices that are happening in emerging markets where lesser developed audio listening habits exist, as we are happy to have here in Germany, but in other markets, that's a different story. Also, I can say another challenge is an increasing market situation that can lead to lesser payouts per audio product. An example for Germany for sure, we'll expect that in Germany, there will be, in the course of all 2025, a total of 15,000 audiobooks being released newly to the market. Additionally to the already around 220,000 audiobooks that are on the market. But the listeners are still around 3.4 million. So they're not growing, but the amount of available products is growing still a lot. So that's quite a large sum of books to tackle for the same couple of years that are listening. So what does that mean for studios and production houses? In the last month, I have spoken to a lot of colleagues internationally about this, and the picture was quite the same everywhere, that a lot of us folks are definitely under margin pressure because the market situation demands publishers to produce more, faster, and also cheaper. I want to add, and also better, because if we want to have strong USPs in comparison to TTS or AI voice productions, we also have to be better. So we have to make the best out of our USPs that we have as humans to make really high-class audiobook productions that stand out in terms of acting and other qualities. Also, of course, it's an increasingly competitive production landscape fueled by the narrative of the audio boom that also had led to a lot of new actors on the market. Summing this up, I don't want to draw a too black picture of what's happening. Don't get me wrong, but to sum it up, publishers do face tighter revenues. TTS voices compete for the market share, or we don't know to which extent they will in future. And the market does feel more saturated each and every year. And studios are kind of caught in between and asked to deliver faster, cheaper, but also better. The big question is, of course, what can we do about it? How do we keep quality high and still survive economically? Let's take a look. I believe that the answer is clear, that we should focus on the strength that only humans have: storytelling, performance, and creativity. But we also cannot cut down on quality, since the biggest USPs we have against AI voice productions that are getting more and more available, and often even for free. At the same time, of course, the most straightforward thing is we must look at where we can make production more efficient, so budgets stretch further without compromising the quality. Of course, the next big question some of you might ask is, how can we do that? To get there, I think we first need to understand where our costs actually go. And in this year with Narrafix, I have spent most time talking with many production houses worldwide about processes, cost, and the overall market situation. And I can say that I have learned a lot. The first thing is that I've learned is we all have quite the same challenges, but everybody has a very different way and a very unique way of solving it and their own processes. But let's take a closer look at the cost structure of those companies producing audiobooks. And of course, everything will be very individual per company, but I did my best to at least heuristically form an average on all those information I gathered. So if we break down a typical audiobook production, one of the biggest shares goes, and all the time goes, to narrators. And of course, it's very straightforward to try to cut down costs here, but I can say, don't do it. I mean, some of them tried a couple of years ago, and some still try to haggle down voices a lot, but I do believe that we need great voices and especially great acting when we want to keep an edge over TTS. So I say, don't do this. The next thing is recording and direction. Obviously, something that we cannot skip because the book has to be recorded. And also directing, may it be synchronous or asynchronous, you have to do it depending on your product. Although here already several workflows with different budgets and very large variety of workflows exist, some of them are very efficient already. And since we want to maintain quality, I would also say not much room to grow here. The next thing is a very interesting one, is project management. We saw a lot of those companies out there, they don't take this particular point into account into an extent that they are actually integrated in their actual breakdown of production costs, because these costs, they roll down the way and never get really transparently monitored. But I think it's a very, very important thing that we need. So because that's all the work that really matters: scheduling, script prep, handling questions, problems, delays, etc. And that's a core for a vital company. And we have found very efficient ways already in our company and software helping with it. But also we need great people in these places doing project management, and we don't see much room to grow here. Of course, what's left of the pie? Then we have edit, post-production, and proofing. And as you can see, editing and proofing takes a large share of the pie. And a lot of time and money goes into editing out a mistake, mastering, duplicate passages, silences, pacing, comparing to the script, proofing for mistakes, managing the workflow, upload, download, sharing, deadlines. And these are all important. These are really important things. But they are also, to a large degree, highly repetitive. So of course you can say, what if we do like low-wage workers and take care of it like that? That's not my way on the highway, at least, and we want quality and we want reliability. So what can we do? And this is exactly where we saw the biggest potential for innovation. And this is what Narrowfix is all about. The whole idea is to have an edge over AI and to keep the human product competitive. Because for my part of the story, I can say that we don't want machines reading books while humans assist them. We want humans to read books while machines assist us. And that's why Narrowfix was designed not just for one group, but for everybody out there in the production chain. So narrators, studios, and publishers. As we will see, each of them benefit differently, but the most common thread is less repetitive work and more focus on storytelling. Let's take a look at what Narrowfix actually does. The first module we developed is automated audiobook editing. What does that mean exactly? So the first module we developed does remove misreads, duplicate passage, and off-script speech automatically, and reassembles passages and single words in line with the original speech flow. It does edit and fade like a skilled audio engineer, also considering breaths, and also respects intentional deviations from the script. That means as you might all have noticed, sometimes it happens that a voice actor actually corrects typos or continuity errors in the script. So we don't want that any technology messes those corrections up. So there is an intelligent logic that respects those intentional deviations. And it does not need any markers, cues, or other indicators to do so, and it also works in currently 45 languages. So when we had this, and we have already celebrated high efficiency gains in our internal processes, Dominic, our head of development, came up to me and said, Chris, I have found a way to make it even better. We can check back on another time after the edit is done and see if everything is correctly according to the script. And that was a funny moment because, of course, in that very moment, my entrepreneurial mind was immediately triggered. You know, we had this technology, we had the script, we had the audios, and a system that understands both. And it was quite a straightforward thing to put it all together and to compare where might be differences once the editing is done. And that's exactly what brought us to develop the second module. And that is automated script proofing. So what does it do? So it does obviously proof the audio content against the supplied script and feedback all the deviations that the audio content has from the script. It works in an unmatched accuracy and also minds homophones, number words, contractions, or proper nouns. So everything that is written a little bit differently and pronounced a little bit differently, that is really straightforward by a machine, is also, Narrowfix is doing the best to map it all together correctly. And also this is in multilingual, English, German, and 40 other languages. But I must say English and German at the moment we offer with enhanced accuracy. The other ones are in beta still, but already available to use, while French, Spanish, and Italian are coming out of the beta status very soon. So you might ask yourself, how does this work? Is this once again one of those AI tools, and how safe is my data? Well, the answer is it's built on deep tech and not on your data. Because, Narrowfix is almost entirely built on mathematical models and not AI. So in practically, that means all the code could, in theory, be all written out on a potentially very, very, very large chalkboard. Of course, at some point of technical complexity, it can get complicated to differ between AI and highly complex deep tech. So one might argue, yes, there is AI involved in some parts. But anyhow, let's make this crystal clear. Your audio files and script files are never sent to any large language models or any third-party Gen AI providers. And most importantly, your files are never at any point reused to train Narrowfix or any external system or third-party system. And nor will we ever ask for your consent to do so. All of this happens 100% in the cloud, and there's nothing to install and no heavy export for your audio software, even when we offer this capability, as we will see in a moment. And also there are custom API solutions for larger companies. I will go into detail just in a bit. Now, let me walk you through how it works and how easy it is after I have a sip of water. So you simply upload your files, the WAV and the PDF, and then after checkout is done, and you can see you're coming to the processing and the results page. And you can see some statistics on what Narrowfix did to the files, and you can download them. You can download them in several formats. So you can download them as the WAV files, as you see here, compatible with all applications, or also for those who are familiar with audio production as AAF files that are compatible with Pro Tools, Logic, and others, and as a RPP Reaper project. Apart from the manual browser-based upload, we do have also API access and integrations into any given infrastructure. Internally in Clan Cantina Studios, we have Nerfix running in Dropbox, so Nerfix automatically fetches files, sends them through Nerfix, and dumps them wherever we want without any click or any manual command. And we have those integrations that can be done for Dropbox, OneDrive, FTP servers, so you can have a lot of business logic automation on your side without any manual uploading or downloading. To sum this up, what are the advantages of this? Of course, it saves many working hours in editing, as I can confirm. Markers and punch and roll becomes completely obsolete. And most importantly, it focuses on the art instead of post-production. So you can focus on what really matters instead of tackling files, markers, or whatever. It's a very simplified and efficient workflow. As far as this goes, our first users are already loving it. Some of them tell us how much time they save and how it even helps them to improve quality. They even called it a lifesaver, which I really think makes me happy. And the combination of AutoCAD and proofing is fascinating and a true leap forward, they say. That being said, nevertheless, one thing I want to point out, and that is what we learned as rolling it out to our first clients and also to our own in-house productions. You can automate production, but there's a dash there, not a period. Because we have to be honest, there's no automation out there with language that will ever be perfect. We're highly satisfied with AutoCAD, and the proofing accuracy was way higher than other tools out there. And we have huge efficiency gains in the last 8 months that we use it in-house. But to get 100%, I think that is something we cannot achieve. We all know it when we have the same problems with some unicorn companies, even like 11 Labs, and that language is a really difficult and fuzzy beast to tackle when it comes to software automation. What it does take care of is the repetitive and technical parts so we can shine where we matter most. And furthermore, I have to say, we don't want to automate everything. You see, there's things that we want humans to do. There are many things in audiobook production that are very human, that breathe life into the production, and the small things and the acting and all that should be checked back by a human, I believe. And so Nerfix is here to support the craft and not replace it. We don't judge storytelling. We don't judge acting or pacing or accents. I think that's the art, and it belongs to all of us who are involved in the production. And we also don't replace the careful director's guidance or pronunciation work. Those remain human choices. And also, of course, yes, little edge cases might remain that lead to inaccuracies in automated processing, because no tool can ever replace the human touch. And language, like I said, is quite a complicated beast to tackle automatically. So it's really important to keep into account it does not create distribution-ready results. So it's not a software that you just talk into and it spits you out the perfectly finished audiobook. But what we want is, we want to make the creative work as easy and efficient as possible. So when we had these modules, auto editing and auto proofing, everybody we spoke to and ourselves, we agreed that they do take away a minimum of 95% of the repetitive work formerly done by humans. The thing is just, what is it worth when you still need a bunch of people to listen back to your audiobook that averages in about 10 hours? You need to download the files, let an engineer listen back in a pro audio software for the last changes, then again upload the results and hand it over to proofing that again listens back 10 hours? That is definitely a lot of work for catching those last 5%, and not exactly as easy and efficient as I just stated. And that is why we came up with something that I want to present to you for the very first time. And that's what we call Nerifix Studio. So Nerifix Studio is the missing link where it all comes together. All of our modules and its results in one place, ready to review and share, and everything in one single workflow. So what does it offer? It offers proof editing in its highest efficiency in a simple and very easily understandable interface in one single go. And it makes export to audio software obsolete for this step through cloud-based non-destructive editing. It's all in the browser. And you can also easily share projects with staff and freelancers through secret links. It also generates automated pickup sheets for narrators and studios that you can easily share with no manual uploading or downloading. Now, I want to show you a glimpse of how this software looks and works. And I really hope that everything works well, because it is still in beta, and if you see any hiccups, they will not be there in the live version. But let's just hope, everybody, that everything goes good. So, as you see here, this is the page that we just saw already in the presentation, and you can see the statistics of what it's done. And as you can see, that was not there in the last slide I pointed out, is this little pen. And if you click on the pen, you will see that it opens Nerifix Studio. Let me walk you through this. So at the top section, you see the project that we're in. So that is the book title, in this case, Anna Karenina. And you see the associated files to it. Yes, of course, we did not, Leanne, the voice actress, record all of the book for demo purposes, although it really is a great book. I can totally recommend, and she was also hooked after that, she told me. But we did the first 3 chapters. And then, continuing, we have the waveform section. Really straightforward. You can jump in anywhere here, and you can see that the script follows.
Happy families are all alike.
What you also see is something underneath here. And this underneath is the transcript. It's not the script, and it's there for easy navigation. So if we zoom in, we can directly see what is spoken inside the audio without even listening to it. So it makes it easy to get the right words and the right attention. Down here, really straightforward, we see the script. The script is really the final master script, the PDF. It's not a parsed, interpreted version of it. It really is the master script. So you can be sure that this is exactly the same that you received as a final production script. Also here, the waveform follows. You can click on those little marks here, and it automatically links the script to the audio. Also, you can see annotations, and these are basically the PDF annotations or comments inside the PDF, as some of them call them, and they can easily be opened and closed here. I know that we and also a lot of other publishers and production houses heavily rely on this function. That's why we make it show by default. As you might see here, just to make that clear, we see a lot of words are highlighted in the script, and there is this German click the word to show pronunciation. This is not part of Nerifix. This is part of our own Klangkantine Studio software called SmartScript. Basically a software that automatically detects words that need a pronunciation help and lets you map files, comments, or recordings to it directly, export and embed them to the PDF script for recording. That's another topic and would be another presentation. So I just wanted you to know, in case you were wondering, that's not part of Nerifix yet, but just that you know what's happening there. Then up here, we have the proofing marker section. So this is where you can see where Nerfix detected deviations from the script. So you can jump on the time code and also
Room, but
listen
on the
back
leather cover
what happened
sofa in
here.
his
We say, all right, that's correct. It should be leather covered sofa, not leather covered sofa. And yes. Also, you can resize all of the sections that you have here to your convenience. So depending on what you work, which screen you work, what you like more, you can just do that. So what kind of work would you want to do in Nerfix? So to make that clear, everything you see here was already automatically created by Nerfix. 95% of the editing and proofing work is done. Remember, not 100%. So in Nerfix Studio, it is the job to catch those last 5% or less that remain in one go and make sure everything is fine, to do those small amendments, cuts, adjustments, and check back all the things that only a human can check back: acting, pronunciation, pacing, and pause length. It is not a complete studio software replacement. It rather focuses to do all the things that you usually do in this phase of production. So fine editing, refining, proofing, and makes exactly that super fast and easy. And we call this phase proof editing. So it mainly listens back. So it's mainly listening back and proofing, but with the capability to do those small remaining amendments directly in the same process. And to share this with you, the good thing we realized in working in this workflow for years, it's not only highly efficient, it's also significantly an improvement for the quality. You see, normally proofers focus on what's wrong, like noises or what has to be re-recorded, and mark this spot in, for instance, an Excel sheet. But I have never seen a proof listening sheet containing insert 0.2 seconds pause or slightly reduce volume to a particular breath. I mean, those small things simply get lost in translation. But if you do fix these small things in one easy click in the moment you notice them, you will. And that's what I love and one of the beauties of this workflow. So let's start. Let's start to do something here. And let's say you want to listen
given
back to
warning.
anything here
3 days after the quarrel.
and say, okay, maybe I want to add a little pause here. So we can directly
Quarrel.
do that. And I can add a pause without anything breaking up. Also, let's go over here. I might just find a good spot of doing something like this. We can actually, I don't know. It's just a little bit random what I do here, but if I want to add a marker, let's say I listen back to
Not in
this
his
section over
wife's
here,
bedroom.
and I said, oh, can we have a little bit more? I want to have the comment for the narrator to do it a little bit more emphasized. I can just add the marker. We see here that it automatically transfers the transcript of the section I highlighted over here, and you can leave a comment and see, please emphasize differently. And it's everything you do is also automatically saved and already in the cloud. So maybe that's not a reading error. I want to show, no, that is actually pronunciation or comment. So you can do both, and all of those marker categories have a little bit of different logic attached to it. Also, if I have a better idea of, I don't want to actually do that to Leanne, but just for the sake of presenting this, if I have a better version that I have in mind to do this, we can also record a voice memo here. So we can say just a click, and it's automatically recording if I have a headset or anything attached to my PC or Mac, and I can press play, and it's automatically embedded here. Just that I don't have any of my words attached to this. That. Also, what I didn't even realize and show to you guys is we can also let us display what Nerfix actually did to that file. So if I hit show edits and I zoom out, we see a lot of editing that has been done by Nerfix. So let's open up a cut and see what happened. Oh, you can see here, this is
3 days after
everything
the quarrel,
that
Prince
Nerfix
Stepan Arkadievich.
already took out.
Stepan Arkadievich
So we
Oblonsky.
can just explode those edits, and everything that is in the red section is actually cut out, but you can total recall, so you can look what has been cut out and you can close it again, or it automatically closes after you edited the section, but you can revert or modify any changes that Nerfix did, or even you can do your own changes in there. For instance, if I cut something away here, you can simply cut it away. Or if I don't like the edit I did, I can just remove the edit again. Also, if I say, for instance, other basic functions that an audio engineer or proof editing engineer might do is, that breath is a little bit different here. It's reloading. Some of my colleagues just chimed in. That's also a safety feature that we have, that if somebody else updates the material, it doesn't overwrite, so it only lets one person edit it. So guys, get out of my file. And here we can make a fade in. We can always remove it. And yeah, the same. Then, what didn't I show yet? We have also many zoom functions. We can also have some pro features. I don't want to bore you to death, but we can also zoom the waveform. We can silence something if there should be a little bit of noise, like so. We can just remove that, and many more functions that we have. So basically everything that you want to do in this particular phase. Let's see. Also, of course, if Nerfix did a proofing marker that is obsolete, let's see if we find one.
What's this?
Nope, that one is correct, of course.
Dolly shuddered, as though in physical
This
pain.
one is also correct. So we don't find any. But anyways, if there is a proofing marker that you don't like, you can just remove him over here. Then, what is really interesting and is really very convenient in our workflows is something else. And this is what I want to show you now. Of course, when you're finishing with the results, I already showed you what you can do with it here, and that it is automatically saved. When you're done with it, you have several options. Of course, you can download the results for further refinement and insert in the pickup in your favorite DAW software. But also, most importantly, you can share the project really easily. So if you're logged in your account, you can hit the share button. And if you want somebody else to chime in, some freelancers or anybody, you have 3 options how you can share the project. The first option is the proof editor. The proof editor is basically, if you send a link out, it gives somebody else the same capabilities as we just saw in Nerfix Studio that I just showed you. That means they can modify the audio and the proofing and all together. The only thing they cannot do is download or again share the project or see your account credentials or anything. The second option over here, proofing, is if you want somebody to not modify the audio, so basically the same as above, but without the option to modify anything in the audio, only to modify like comments and markers. So edit, delete, or add new proofing markers. And the last option, and this is what I want to share to you as well, this is what is highly convenient for narrators or production studios like us, is I'm going to show you. It's going to load the tracks. See, I could have done that before I did this masterclass, but for some reason I didn't. But now we're warming up the studio, although it is quite warm in here. Yeah, And now we see all the proofing markers that we did in an easy, very easy overview. So the good thing is about it that they cannot modify anything. And it also defaults to rather a list view that most production houses or narrators are used to, but still they can modify this if they want. And they need not to open many windows or tabs anymore. They not need to scroll through audio files or to look for the passage because they can just access it here. They do not need to be searching in the PDF to find the whole sentence because it's already linked to the script, even though they can, if they want, also search for anything in the PDF over here. And so they just need to open a particular secret link, and it's everything they need, just a clean and easy view to directly get you started to record the pickups in your favorite audio software. All right, that is Nerfix Studio. So let's sum this up. In Nerfix Studio, you can have proof efficiency at its highest efficiency, proof editing at its highest efficiency, in a simple, easily understandable interface in one go. It makes DAW exports, so to your audio software, obsolete through cloud-based non-destructive editing. And you can easily share the project with staff freelancers through Secret Link. Also, it can generate, as we just saw, automated pickup sheets for narrators and studios. All right, so what are the use cases for the different target groups that I pointed out earlier? What I want to point out, the good thing is, and what we really love and what this is designed for, is that it is a modular system which you can choose which parts you use and how you use them. We do have recommendations and love to discuss workflows, but it's up to you. It's completely up to you how you use it. You can use one module, only the AutoCut, only the proofing. You can use Nerfix Studio or use the exports for your favorite DAW. Like I said, we do have recommendations, but it is up to you. So what does it mean? Production studios can streamline workflows with automated editing and proofing, share projects effortlessly, and collaborate smoothly across your team and freelancers. Narrators can stay fully focused on performance, and in case they're working in home studios, they also can quickly review and polish the material if their partner requires them to do so before they send it off to studios. And publishers can also ensure accuracy and quality before release or before heading to distribution to make super sure that there's not a mistake in there, with either API access and automatic protocol creation and or easy to use proofing view and pickup sheets for very fast revisions with no manual uploading, downloading, and emails. So what does it all come down to? For me, it's all about freedom, and the freedom for narrators to give their best performance, for studios to focus on creativity, and for the industry to move past outdated and time-consuming workflows that distract from the magic of storytelling. And of course, many of you might be asking yourself now, well, the significant thing is, what does it cost? Of course, let's take a look at the pricing options. The first option that we already have rolled out is our Flex. That is usage-based, pay-as-you-go pricing to get you started. It features these pricings: auto editing for 12 euros per hour, auto proofing for 6 euros per hour. And when it all combined in one go, both together, so you upload the files one and you activate editing and proofing, it reduces the price to 14 euros per hour. It's all based, the pricing, on the uploaded audio material, and they include 19% German VAT, so you might be exempt for that and save even further. What I would like to point out additionally is that Nerfix Studio is available for free, so no additional charges in all of the plans, so you only pay for the processing and not for Nerfix Studio as such. And please mind, this is a launch offer and could change once we roll out the other plans. We have a subscription pricing to come as a monthly subscription with lower usage costs. And also we have the enterprise solution for larger studios, free setup customizations we can talk about. And you can contact us anytime if something like that should be interesting to you. Also, I want to point out everything that is coming to you in November 2025. As we have auto cutout and proofing already available to our early clients, we are rolling out the whole product in batches just to make sure that we can respond to all of the questions and the user requests well in time. So since some of our users are already using Nerfix Studio even, others just started using AutoCAD and are already on the list for the next batch in this month already. And if you want to be among the next batch and first users to access, you can sign up right here for the waitlist to ensure that you'll be guaranteed access on November 3rd. I think also Liz is promoting that link if you have problems reading that QR code in the chat later on. But even better, and that would be really, really cool because I'm not losing that awkwardness speaking to hundreds of people without seeing any of them, being in my own little studio. You can schedule a meeting at Frankfurt Book Fair with us, and you can demo everything at our booth at the Frankfurt Book Fair, meet us in person and discuss production workflows and have a coffee, most importantly. I didn't put my the booth number of our Nerfix booth there. That is Hall 3.1 and the number is K12, but it also will be displayed if you book a meeting in the Calendly link there. So now we still have 15 minutes left for questions, and I really thank you for your attention. I have time for all of your questions you might have. And let's take a look. Dominic, our head of development, is actually compiling the questions for me. And if you allow me 1 second to browse through it, I will pick some. I don't see everything. I need to rearrange something. Give me a second. I will be right back. Yes, because the first question is quite interesting. So the question is, if Nerfix proofing able to handle varied regional accents with a single language to the same level of efficiency, and is it able to handle multi-voice narrations with varied regional accents within a single recording? And now it says Liz wants to answer that question. I don't know what that means, but I just go ahead and answer it. Well, the answer would be it depends. Language is a continuum, and some accents, dialects can cross language definition boundaries. And if the accent or dialect strays too far from the source language in the proofing, it might pick up divergences that a human would judge differently. We actually had that case with a very, very strong accented UK audiobook. So it gives back a little bit more proofing and maybe even some inaccuracies in AutoCAD. Usually, when you have slight accents, it handles it really, really well. But we haven't tried all of the accents out there in the world, but it's quite fair to use. But if you have a really heavy Scot accent, it might be difficult, as it would be for me as well, I might say. Okay, this next question would be, how does Nerfix decide on which take to scene to choose? To my experience, it is not always the last recorded try. Sometimes the voice talent just offers another take with another creative approach. Yes, that's true. In my experience as running Klangkantine studios and have recorded plenty of thousands of audiobooks already, usually for efficiency reasons, all of the directors and narrators that we work with go with the last take. If they're not satisfied with it, they do it again until the last take is the final one. So this is the same logic that Narrafix follows. If you want a different one, there are two workflow recommendations from my side how you can do it. First of all, leave it all in and choose a Narrafix studio. You can just open it up again and choose a different one. The more straightforward thing to do will be either to do it like I said, make it the last version the best one, or you can just, if it's not the best one, edit it on the spot while recording. This is not, because if you document everything like that, it's a load of documentation work and you have to go through your notes afterwards. And we dropped this approach a long time ago because that is also very, very easy to make mistakes in that thing. And if you want to judge each and every sentence for an audiobook, again, in post-production, we rather think make that decision during the recording. And that is the job of a director, I would say, in my opinion. So the next question would be, I'm self-publishing. Do I go to a studio, record them to have the studio upload to my account and then proceed, or does the studio have to have an account? It depends. So in Narrafix Studio, it's not a recording interface. It's just post-production for proof editing. So the workflow would be you record. Idealistically, to go a little bit more in detail, we would recommend to master everything without hearing back. You just master the whole files and then send them to Narrafix. Then it takes care of the cut, then it takes care of the proofing, then you can refine what you did, download it, and then you can go back to your audio software to take care of the pickups. So it totally depends on what you choose. For the narrators working with us, we don't want them to worry about a thing. They just send in their files and we take care of all the handling, even with Narrafix that lives inside our infrastructure. Other studios might have a different approach. It basically depends on what you choose, who pays for the Narrafix if you want to use it, who owns the account, or if you want to use it. So it's totally up to you. It's a completely modular system. The next question is B. That's a good one, and I was expecting that one. Could I record the corrections in the application as well? The answer is no. The second part of the answer is not yet. The next question is, would this replace 11 Labs entirely, or is it used once the text has been recorded? I find that the editing of the recordings is highly time consuming. There are a few things I think that are mixed together in this one, because I understand the question. 11 Labs is TTS, is AI voice. So Narrafix is built on making our life easier with humanly voiced production. So it's a completely different approach than 11 Labs that takes care of AI voices, and we take care of the human voices. But yes, it can be used once the text has been recorded. And you say in that question, I find that editing of recordings is highly time consuming. Exactly. That's why we did it for. Just give it a go. Drop by at our trade fair booth and talk with us about it. Very happy to do so. The next question, Gavin. Is it possible to search the transcribed text of the recorded speech? For example, I can look for Darmstadt. Very good to look for Darmstadt always, because our company is based in Darmstadt, by the way, to jump to that segment of the narration. Or maybe I didn't like how I said the particular word at some point, but I don't remember where. Can I look for it? Well, we haven't built, for simplicity reasons, we haven't built in the feature to look up and search for the transcription. But if your narrator or yourself did a great job in narrating, you can just see, and we have the PDF search feature. So if I pull up the studio again, and of course, if I'm somewhere else in the script, I can just type Darmstadt here, and there we are. We are in Darmstadt. Isn't that funny, by the way, that a popular book like this, in this first chapter on the first page, starts with the protagonist of the book having a dream about a dinner in Darmstadt? I really like that. That's why I picked it, by the way. So just to get it right, do you recommend to use Narrowfix before fine editing or after? Well, both. Um, I mean, Narrowfix take care of the editing. So what you get back as the result, even before you refine the results in Narrowfix Studio, Narrowfix take care of the editing. And what you get back from Narrowfix will be very, very probably a very polished version already that is more polished than any punch and roll recording will be in our experience. So, but to get that 100% done, especially pacing is something that is very individual. You know, how much the pause lengths need to be there. We try to not touch too much of it, to not give you too much deviation of your particular individual voice flow, but all these things that are considered fine editing can be done inside of Narrowfix Studio. So the Narrowfix algorithm, the AutoCut, takes care of the editing up to a point, also takes care of some fine editing work already, and then you can refine it in Narrowfix Studio directly. And the version you get back after you download it, I have the read-only version up here, but you remember you have the read-only, can I open it again? Oh yeah, when you download it here should be the fine edited version as well, if you're done here. So this is the version, if you mastered it before you headed to Narrowfix, this version will be the one that you download, and all you have to do is insert that pickups in your audio software, because we cannot do that yet in Narrowfix itself. How long does it take to familiarize employees with your tool, and how is the training structured? Good question. This tool was built for very, very easy onboarding and upscaling. We have docs available that are not yet on the website, but will be available for convenient onboarding. We also offer training classes for onboarding complete teams to this tool, so it's very easy and efficient. So if you are a company that wants to onboard employees, we can help with that, or we can at least supply you with documents to do so yourself. We also have a very comprehensive help desk and also a brilliant support team. How does it work for the Portuguese languages? I'm sorry. Yeah, it should work. We haven't rolled out, just remember, AutoCut shouldn't be any problem at all. I don't speak Portuguese, so I cannot judge it, but as far as I am informed, it's working well. And the proofing is still in beta, but you can talk to us anytime, Sandra, if you want to use it, and we can give it a go as a beta user for Portuguese for the proofing. How does Narrowfix handle multiple languages? That's a very good question. So the thing is, it depends. I actually think we have a spot right here. Where was? Oh yeah, see that? There are Italian bits over here that are also
Yes,
brilliantly
how was it now? He
pronounced by
thought, going
Leanne.
over his dream. Now,
Is Il mio tesoro, and it actually does a really good job. If it's like small things like that and they're like popping in and out, it's very easy. We are currently improving that. It must, we had some difficulties when larger segments are a different one than the primary language, but with the next update, that should be solved as I'm concerned. Yes. So please, could you share the complete list of languages Narrowfix can handle at the moment? Our new website is launching at every moment. and Nerifix.audio. I think it will launch a few minutes after this masterclass, and there you can click on Help Center and just type in languages and you get the complete language list. Then I have a question regarding the proofing tool. Doesn't it mark too many unnecessary mistakes that are time consuming to filter out? How does Nerifix fix this problem that automated proofing tools usually have? Totally correct. That it is a problem, and that's what we also saw as a flaw of other tools that we have tried out. It might still happen, so the accuracy is really high. And like I said, it deals really well. At least I can definitely confirm it that in German and English, these unnecessary mistakes, markers that are set are already at a minimum. We will get better, but like homophones, like words that are differently spelled but sound the same, number words, other things like abbreviations, contraptions, they're also correctly mapped so they don't cause any unnecessary markers. Of course, it's always a thing of constant improvement, but we're quite happy with the results. At least for German and English, I can confirm this. List of languages. Again, the question, I just said it. Is Turkish? Yes, Turkish is among the languages. Does the script need to be formatted in a certain way? No. It has to be a PDF though, and it has to contain all the information that is also in the audio. That should be straightforward. But the nicer it is formatted and the lesser information it has that is not spelled out in the audio, the more reliable it works. But it works quite well with even, to be honest, weird formatting. Okay, next question. You said that Nerifix can help with recording studios in the editing, but what about narrators who record from home, which is a trend nowadays? In this case, Nerifix eliminates the role of studios completely. Hence, they could edit the recording themselves using Nerifix. To be honest, to be really honest with you, yes, there is a risk that at some point studios might have to redefine their role, but I would say if the only role is to manually editing recordings, there's still a lot of things why we need studios. And of course, I did that decision also without cannibalizing my other company. So I think there is a big need for highly professional production companies to guide through the processes, to do all the managing work, to have the list of narrators, to have expertise, which narrator to go, and many, many other things. So I think that will not die out anytime soon. We have human productions, but the role might be evolving. That is right. We are definitely aware that, that could happen. Following up on the 11 Labs question, if you edit human narration, can your tool edit AI narration? AI narration is improving in leaps and bounds to be soon one of the may not be able to tell the difference if the editing is good. So will Nerifix still work with these? I mean, you can try it out. The thing is, if you go with AI narration, you should probably stick to the tools that those providers go. I think we experimented with AI narration as well, and the biggest flaw we see is that you have to auto-generate hallucinations and bad pronunciation, and that's a lot of work to get them right because you have no sense of control because you never know what the heck is happening in those neural networks. So you can try to use Nerifix for it. It's definitely not designed to do so, but yeah. Thanks for this. No question, just some applause. I had the joy to already use the first version, AutoCAD only the last days, and I'm really looking forward for the new features. Nerifix Studio looks amazing. Thank you so much, Stefan. Really happy that you love it. And I'm also really, really curious on how you guys all come along with Nerifix Studio. I recognize some features from Astrid Ear Select by Storytel, which is nice. One of their features is that an editor can listen in real time during a recording session to add markers. Is this also available to Nerifix? I know Ear Select. I never saw Astrid, which I assume is their software, I suppose. listen in real time. So again, this is not a recording tool. This is a proof editing tool. So this is not available to Nerifix, as you cannot use Nerifix to record. So you have to use other technology that is, there's so many tools where you can do exactly that. Session Link is very common in Germany, or Riverside. There's so many things that you can do for this remote direction. Andrea Mayas. Oh, hello, by the way. Does Nerifix make the chapter cuts, or does it just edit the given audio? Really happy about this question. Well, it cannot do chapter cuts, but you can make chapter markers, and we will add probably the capability of do chapter cuts in a bit. But one thing I have to say is we highly recommend of using Nerifix by already uploading in cut chapters. This has several reasons. First of all, the overview. If it's already cut into chapters, also the lead in and lead out pacing will be already really nicely put by Nerifix. Also, performance issues. First of all, the processing. It's a completely multi-processing thing, but the processing time depends on the length of your file. So if you upload a whole audiobook in one file, it may be tremendously long file, and it can also linear processing only. So the shorter your files are, and it doesn't matter how many they are, they're processed faster. So the limitation is to the length is the file length. And first, also, we have limited the capability of Nerifix Studio at the moment to 90 minutes. So you will not be able to edit any files that are longer than 90 minutes in Nerifix Studio. This has technical limitations at the moment. Just make sure that we're streaming in full resolution, and it's still, even with a medium internet connection, going flawlessly, right? So, but at a certain extent of audio that's being cached, that's really, really problematic. So we advise to keep the chapter or audio file length below 60 minutes, which is easily being done, that you just divide it before you upload it to Nerifix. But if you do the mastering before it, that we recommend anyways, it's fine. But that are so detailed questions. I'm really happy if you guys are coming to our booth, and we can discuss workflows. And I love doing that, learning from other workflows, discussing them with you. And thank you so much for your contribution and for so many questions. And yeah, really looking forward. If there's anything else, I will sign off, and wishing you a really exciting and pleasant trade fair, and I would love to see many of you there. Take care, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.